Witches. So today is going to be a somewhat informative, somewhat talky, rambly style video, so buckle up. But today on a surprise episode of deity work, I wanted to talk about the deity that recently manifested during my full moon ritual. She had been kind of coming to me beforehand, but I was dumb and blind and did not see it. So up until the full moon, I was like, what's happening? Let that be a note to any novice practitioners, even me, someone who has been working for 10 years, is sometimes oblivious to signs, and sometimes it takes deities like literally hitting me upside the head with something to make me realize it. So if you follow me on TikTok, you might already know, just because I have a problem keeping things to myself in terms of my craft. But the goddess in question is the goddess of the crossroads, the keeper of keys, and the queen of the witches, Hecate. Now she is a deity that really like intrigues me and yet deeply terrifies me, right? And I'm still learning a lot about her, so I can kind of hopefully come back with more answers if you have questions about her in a couple weeks when I have done more research on it. But I'm just starting out. This is kind of new for me. It's kind of weird. But for today, I kind of wanted to give you an overview so you kind of get the vibe of like who I'm working with. I'm also going to be adding this part to my deity work section when I go through and do my book of shadows, just because I feel like it's kind of out of place if I was, anyways. But basically Hecate is a Greek goddess, and she is associated with crossroads, the night, witchcraft, necromancy, like magic, and both healing and poisonous herbs. She is a psychopath, which means that she freely goes between the underworld and the world of mortals, kind of like Anubis does. And some symbols associated with her are keys, the crossroads, serpents, black dogs, torches, and she is a triple goddess similar to the Morrigan, but also like they're not super similar. It's kind of hard. Their energies are really different. It's confusing. It's a different vibe, but they are similar in that they are a triple goddess. I did a very cursory Google search at first, and like as I started researching her, a lot of stuff that like has been happening my entire life like started sticking out at me, and I was like, oh, that's weird. So like the first thing, and this is kind of like I'm now moving into like my personal associations and stuff, so this is like the talky rambly part. Hello, we've made it. But Hecate is the daughter of Perseus and Asteria. Now, this is super weird for me because my grandparents had like a vacation home, and they named it Asteria. Like that is their name that they've had for this house. I don't know why they named it. I think people just name buildings sometimes where it's like, there's Pemberley Manor or whatever. And they named it Asteria because they saw like a quail or something nearby. But they had like the legend of Asteria, which is like she fell in love with somebody, I believe. This is vastly misquoting. Please do not quote me on this. Please read the actual one. This is me talking and rambling. But basically, I believe she fell in love with somebody, probably Perseus, and they couldn't be together for some reason, so she like drowned herself in the sea and was transformed into a quail. And they saw a quail and they decided to name it Asteria because they wanted something like quail related. Like when they were building the house. Now this house has been around since like 1999. Like it is very much like we would go there during the summer and like Christmas, Thanksgiving, and stuff like that. So they had like in one of their bedrooms like this little piece of like laminated paper with like the myth of Asteria on it, and it was like my favorite thing ever. So I would read it all the time, and I always thought that was like a cool little thing. If they still have it up there, I'm probably gonna steal it for my book of shadows, but don't tell them that. They don't watch YouTube, they don't know. But yeah, I just thought that was like a weird thing. As soon as I saw Asteria, I was like, what? Like, what the hell is that? That's crazy. So that was weird coincidence number one. The next thing was that she is known as a torchbearer. So part of her story is that when Persephone was taken by Hades, she helped Demeter look for her. And when I was a young child, I was not an altar boy, because like that's not right, but an acolyte, I think that's what they called it. That sounds like really like deep, like Dungeons and Dragons-y to me. But basically all I did was like carry a candle like down the aisle, like next to the priest while he carried the Bible and stuff. I almost said that weird book. It's the Bible. That's what we're talking about. So we would make our procession, and then I would like hand him wine and like holy water and stuff. And I really just liked it because I got to like stand at the altar and like do stuff. And now I'm realizing I just wanted to be a witch. But at the time, I thought it was really cool. So during all of that on Sunday mornings, we would have to stand like at the back of the church, or like right outside it, like holding these candles. And every time I freaking did it, I would like go into this like weird like trance where I was just like transfixed by the flame. And whenever I started like thinking about it like getting higher, like it would, like the flame would grow, and then when I stopped thinking about it, it would like shrink down. And that was super weird to me. So I would like in silence, like no one else knew that this was happening. I would sit there for like 10 minutes just like doing like weird witchy things and like being like, all right, am I Carrie? Like, am I a psycho, oh my gosh, psychokinetic or whatever? And probably not. The answer is probably just wind, but I was like really transfixed by it, and it is a very like deep memory that I have like burned into my brain. So I just thought that was interesting. And I was a torchbearer, similarly to how Hecate is a torchbearer. I'm not saying that I am her, obviously, but the similarity, I hope you guys can see like where I'm like, ugh, that's creepy. Thing I wanted to talk about, I used to, if you know me from like middle school, and this is a very deep dive, so hopefully no one who knew me back then is watching, because I was terrible, but I had this like key necklace that was like a skeleton key that I got at like freaking Michael's or whatever, and I couldn't, like back then I couldn't wear it, like, oh, excuse me, back then I couldn't wear pentacle, so instead, like a, you know, a pentacle, we are witches, we know what that is, I couldn't wear that, but instead I like took this key and I was like, this is my like symbol that I'm a witch, and it was only for me, no one else knew about it, everyone, like no one commented on it other than like, hey, cool necklace. That was like a cool like covert witch thing that I used to do without even like knowing that I was a witch yet at that point, because I had it from before that, and then once I got into witchcraft I was like, this is a sign of my like witchcraft, but I like decided that this key would be like my good luck charm and like protector thing, and I literally didn't take it off for like years. Like, I mean, I showered and I slept with it around my neck. Like, it really became a symbol of witchcraft to me, and like the fact that it was like specifically a skeleton key, and Hecate is like the goddess of like witches and witchcraft and keys, I was like, maybe am I reading into this? Let me know what your thoughts are. I just thought it was super weird. I could be crazy, it's fine. Yes. The final thing I wanted to say is like, it's super weird. I know I like drew like similarities between myself and Anubis for owning a snake, but one of Hecate's like sacred animals is a snake. So I actually have here like Sal's shed in my little jar as an offering to her. I put this altar up for her. She is also very much associated with garlic, so that's going to be a staple offering for her, I think. But I really like, I feel like the 4 deities that I've been working with have each been like working to prepare me to worship and work with Hecate, because each of them kind of has like a similar aspect to her, right? And I feel like they're all kind of like part of them are all in her. So like for me, like Bast is a mother goddess, like for sure, and she has helped me so much in the last like couple months. Prepare myself for this, to be kinder to myself. She's just wonderful. And Hecate is also, being a triple goddess, has a mother aspect to her. That she has a very similar energy to the Morrigan, like I was talking about, being a triple goddess, but also like that really direct kind of communicative fashion. Like she already has been like, no, your altar is gonna be for me mostly from now on, like your main altar. And I also feel like the other 4 deities like that I have worked with for so long, even her and the Morrigan, not leaving, don't get me wrong, they are not gone, but they're almost like stepping back in order to give me the freedom to work with her like in a very close way, if that makes sense. Moving right along, I see a lot of Hern in her, in being that kind of like that wild element to it, and that like association with nature and plants. It's kind of where I see him and his influence. I'm not saying that they're the same person or intrinsically linked, because obviously they're from different cultures, but that's kind of how I am seeing an aspect of him in her, if that makes any sense. I don't know. And then of course she and Anubis are very similar in that they kind of traveled to the underworld very frequently. I mean, him being the literal like ferryman basically, and her doing kind of the same. So I see a lot of that in my working with her. So I feel like with working with each of these 4 individual deities, they've prepared me and taught me how to work with her, but it's also like very different and very new and very nuanced. So it's very exciting for me. Because I do feel them all kind of stepping back in order to allow me to work with her in a very respectful way. Again, they are not leaving me, and I will always work with them. Always work with them. I'm going to be creating unique altars for them and kind of setting them all around my main altar. I think I mentioned, like, as part of my waning gibbous thing, I would be turning this whole space into a witchcraft room. That is kind of part of it. So I'm going to be looking for smaller, like, tables. This will be my working altar and also a shrine to Hecate. So I feel like it's good to have a neutral, like, central altar for sure, but I also want to make sure that all of my gods are venerated and that I give them all enough devotion, and the devotion that they deserve, because they've helped me through a lot. So I hope that makes sense. I will probably film an updated deity work video like at the end of the year, but for now I'm really excited to start working with Hecate. This is my altar that I have set up for her, if you couldn't tell, or if I didn't mention it, I guess, but I'm really excited to start to learn from her and progress on this path. I've, again, ordered some books, so I will be reading all about her, and we'll be able to do a full deity work video at the end of the year, so you can see where I started and then, like, where I ended at the year. So at the end of the year. All right, I'm gonna see you guys later. I hope you have a great day. Bye.